Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of my journey with Thermomix. Today we're going to do milk bread. It is a traditional bread served in Switzerland on most Sundays. Now why have I chosen this recipe? It's because it seemed to be quite easy to do, probably the most basic bread I could find. Prior to this, I was using a bread maker for most of my bread, and I found that the kneading not to be as even as I would like to. I've always wanted to bake bread using the oven, because on a bread maker, somehow, partly probably my fault, the bread doesn't rise very nicely. The bottom half tends to be a bit denser and the top half tends to be less dense. And I don't get a good bread all the time. Could be my bread maker, could be the way I mix things. So I'm hoping that with a little bit more manual control now, it will help me to improve this further. So let's take a look at the recipe itself. So as usual, I will go to cookie dough first. And I've already selected this as part of my recipe for the week. Let's see if it appears here. Okay, it does. Milk bread. And we're going to start cooking. First instruction says to lightly grease a large bowl and set aside. I've been using this extra light olive oil all this while for cooking and greasing. I found this to be very convenient. Okay, next. Put in 30 grams of milk. The only issue here sometimes is I find that the weighing scales response takes a while. So I have to be very careful with the amount that I'm pouring in. Okay. Thereabouts. Next item, 50 grams of butter cut in pieces. So I've weighed the butter prior to this, and let me just cut them into smaller pieces. $20 grams of fresh yeast or 2 teaspoons of dried instant yeast. $20 to $60 grams of sugar. So this is something that I find a bit difficult as a beginner. If everything else was so specific and suddenly you come to a point whereby you say you can put 20 or to 60 grams of sugar, I'm just going to go with something in the middle. Okay, next, insert measuring cup and mixing bowl. Next, turn speed selected to 2. So it's actually mixing at 37 degrees for 3 minutes. I'll come back and see you in a while. Oh, okay, 3 minutes is up very quickly. So we will click next. Put 550 grams of bread flour in. Okay, that's next. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Next, insert measuring cup and mixing bowl. Turn speed selector to start. So it's starting to knead again for 3 minutes. And just prior to 3 minutes, I'm going to put in a cup of 80 grams of raisin and see how this adds to the flavor of the bread. So see you in a while. So let me add the raisins in. Okay, so we are all ready. Next, put dough in a prepared bowl. So you go back to our original bowl. So we are supposed to cover this with a tea towel for approximately 1 hour to let it rise. So I'll see you in an hour. Okay, and we are back. So the dough has risen nicely. The next job we have is to divide it into 3, roll it into like 3 ropes, and then plate it before we leave it for another half an hour to let it rise. Okay, so we join it at one end we've played it nicely, and then finally at the other end, we'll join them again. So I'm just putting them together nicely, and we will let it rest for another half an hour to let it rise again, and we'll see you in a while. Okay, hi, I'm back again. So this time round we are gonna start baking the milk bread. I'm all showered, and Robot has vacuumed and mopped the place twice. I've had my dinner. I have a whisk and egg, and what we're gonna do is simply just to, I'm not really sure what's the name for this, just to drizzle it over, oil it with this. And then I've already set the oven for 180 degrees, 30 minutes preheat, and I'm very happy with this oven because it preheats very quickly. You just okay, let's send it to the oven. And we'll come back in 30 minutes to see what happens. Okay, we're going to stop the oven. It looks like the bread looks ready. Smells really good. Oh, it's really, really hot. So there you go. A milk bread. I'm not sure how it tastes like. I'll let it cool for a while before we cut it. In the meantime, just let you have a closer look on how it looks like. Okay, when it cools and I cut, I'm going to post the photos as part of the YouTube thumbnail. So, and till next time, see you.